Kings chapter 19, verses 19 through 21. Reading out of the King James, the Bible reads as such. So he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, Let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. Keep your focus there. I will follow thee. And he said unto him, Go back again, for what have I done to thee? And he returned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them, and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen, and gave it unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and went after Elijah and ministered unto him. From those passages, I, for a moment, want to talk from the text. The succession is real. Right. Many times we talk about Elijah and Elisha, but we don't really understand that Elisha never had to follow Elijah. Elijah had come to a place where, after the greatest prophetic victory of his ministry, he was tired and begging for God to bring him home. Many times we say he was suicidal, but he didn't want to kill himself. He wanted God to bring him home. We got to understand the difference in wanting to kill yourself and wanting to be with the Lord. He didn't say, God, I'm going to kill myself. He said, no, I want you to bring me. It's too much now. I've done everything I can do. I then went after the false prophets. I then went after the false religion and the false government. And now they after me. God, I'm tired. One thing about God is even in your tiredness, he'll give you another assignment. So Elijah then said all of this to God, and God sends him an angel to feed him and says, listen, I need you to eat because you're going to go a day's journey and you need strength. God, I don't want strength. I want it to be over. I don't want to be on earth no more. Stop giving me stuff to do. But one thing about God is I'm never going to leave a void in the earth. What you mean? Elisha wasn't just a protege of Elijah. He was the one that was going to stand in the place of Elijah. He wasn't going to anoint any other prophet. He was going to anoint the prophet that was going to be able to do what he did. The prophet that was going to be able to take the ministry that was already fully flourishing and take it to the next place. A lot of times we don't understand the significance of ordination, installation, consecration, and affirmation because it's easy to buy it.
That part.
It's easy to go online and get some paperwork, but when you don't have a relationship with what's consecrating you, you're fraudulent. Fraudulent. Okay, so you said Elisha didn't have to follow Elijah. Absolutely correct. Why? Because the assignment was to anoint him in your place, not teach him, not train him, not form him, and no send him. Give him your mantle and walk away. But Elisha had something in him that said, I can't do this. I need to minister. I need to serve. I need to go with him so I know what I'm doing. So he made a choice that didn't have anything to do with the mantle, but everything to do with the mantle. The mantle was already his. He was already the prophet in Elijah's place. But now I'm going to serve you at my will. I'm choosing to follow you. I don't care what they said. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what I'm going to serve you. I'm going to minister to you. I'm not doing this for what I'm going to get. I'm doing it for the reality that I need to serve because the mantle was a mantle of service.
Yes.
We don't like mantles of service because we want the glory. But glory don't come without some sacrifice. And most times your service is sacrifice because you got to die to you to serve.
Yeah.
For the sake of my sanity and my salvation, I'm going to remove myself because I need to die to me. Because if I stay here, somebody's going to die and it ain't.
Listen.
I'm going to be locked up and I don't know if y'all got favor money. Because I'm going to be the crazy one to go in and say, I did it, don't have a trial out. Just send me. Because I did it. Because serving other people can be difficult when you are stuck in you. Because everything is about how you would do it, how you think about it. But watch this. If I'm serving you, my thought means nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, I would have did it, but I'm serving you, so my thought has to take a back step. You shouldn't have said that to me. But because I'm serving, I have to step back. Because you said it in the way that was needed for me, even when I thought it was too harsh. Because harshness is not always abuse. But if I can't be stern with you, I can't serve you properly. Because sternness is not a lack of love. It's love in full power.
It's love and full.
Love and full power is going to come in a way that you have to look at the situation differently than how you feel about it. So, watch this. Elisha is wealthy in business. 12 yoga oxen would make him a multi-millionaire today. But he wasn't functioning as a prophet when he got the mantle. Our problem is we don't want to receive prophets of today because they didn't come out of church.
Listen.
Okay, I'm going to take a walk. Because we relegated God and the prophets to the church. But what he's doing is what he's always done, pulling the prophets from where he needs them.
I like it. Come on here.
Huh? You want a prophet that was in Sunday school with you. But y'all were taught wrong in Sunday school, so you got a prophet with bad theology prophesying to you falsely because they don't trust the Holy Spirit to speak beyond what they were taught in Sunday school. But you won't receive the one that's had relationship with God despite not being in your sanctuary.
That's good.
My God. Jesus.
This man sacrificed his wealth to follow the prophet. Okay. All right. See, we don't like to hear that because I shouldn't have to sacrifice anything for God. Your problem is you want God to conform to you, but you won't conform to God. And this session is still okay. So Elisha says, I'm going to give up all that I know. I'm going to give up my business, and I'm going to walk away from my family, and I'm going to follow after the prophet. Not God said, not the prophet said. I made a decision within myself.
I made a decision within myself.
I thought about it. I got this mantle, and I need to understand what this mantle is. And me continuing what I'm doing is not going to allow that to happen. So I'm gonna follow after you. Nowhere does it say he even knew who he was. But I'm gonna follow you because you threw this status of dignitary on me. Because that's what a mantle is. It's a sign that you are a dignitary. It is a reference to your position. So everybody walking around with a mantle, but the mantle don't say nothing.
Don't say a thing.
There's no demarcation of what this is supposed to represent. I can't see where you came from.
Listen.
Sometimes I don't have to interview you. I should be able to see it on you. If I walk in McDonald's and you got on a Burger King uniform, somebody in the wrong place. But if I look at you with a mantle and the mantle don't say nothing, what is your authority?
What authority do you have?
Too many today have gone after the mantle, but don't have the seat. Anybody can put on a garment, but can you sit down? Because you know you don't rule standing up.
Come on.
You ain't never seen a king, a queen, a prince, or a princess make any decision standing up. They do it sitting down. Oh wait, you forgot that you are seated in Christ. Oh, in heavenly places.
Oh, that's good.
So if I'm seated with him, why my mantle don't say nothing? Why is the tapestry of what I'm wearing saying nothing? Because you're not in the succession. You don't have anything that came before you that can speak for you even when it's dead. You don't have anything that is visible that speaks to the dignity you want me to give you. Well, I'm the prophet. From where?
From where?
Who your mama people?
Who them is? Who them is?
Who your daddy people?
Who them is?
Because if I can't trace you, I don't know what God you speak for.
That's it right
Huh?
there. That's good.
If I can't find a genetic prophetic lineage, how can I trust you're a prophet?
My God.
What is the testimony of your prophetic ministry? What is the fruit of your prophetic jurisdiction? Them terms you don't even know because you're not in. Okay. Watch this. So Elisha decides, I'm going to follow you. Elijah tired. He's like, go back. I didn't say to do this. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Just going back. Elisha went back and made another decision. I'm going to leave my mama and my daddy and everything I know. But before I go, I'm going to feed them. I'm going to feed all of the people with what I have because I'm going after what I need.
I like it.
I'm going to give you what I've already accumulated because it's not going to benefit me where I'm going.
My God.
And where I'm going, I can't drag this along because this is dead weight. So to light my load, I'm going to sacrifice the oxen to follow. What have you sacrificed to follow? Why are you talking about Elijah and Elisha? Because the succession is real. Succession is biblical. And I'm not talking about apostolic succession.
Talk about it.
You believe what you want to believe. Baby, if you can trace your apostleship or your bishopric back to Paul and Peter and all of them, great. But I want to go back just one generation. Who put their hands on you? And where did they stand?
Where did they stand? Where did they
I know
stand?
where Peter stand. I know where Paul. But who put that? I want to know. I want to know your direct succession, not the succession that's been altered and played with and paid for. Who? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me. If we're going to be legitimate, we got to be legitimate. Okay. Praise the Lord anyhow. So the succession is real and is biblical. It is by way of the Spirit. It is through the Scripture. But if we're unwilling to do what it takes to get the succession, we are unwilling to walk in the authority of said succession. Well, let's do what I like to do. Y'all know me, I like words. So the dictionary defines succession as the order in which, or the conditions under which one person after another succeeds. I don't like that because succeeds is part of succession, so I'm defining one word with the same word. Don't like it, let's keep going.
Don't want to talk about it.
To a property, dignity, title, or throne. All right. The right of a person or a line to succeed. Again, we're defining a word with the word, don't like it. The line having such a right. Man, okay, that's cute. That ain't good. Watch this. The act or process of following in order. You got succession, but you're not orderly. I don't understand.
Don't understand not a thing. Come on, Dad.
You're the queen bishop of protocol, but you don't got no. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to understand how it is you can teach me protocol, but there's no order to your ministry. There's no order to your life. There's no order to what's coming out of your mouth, but you got protocol on lock.
Yeah. Come on here.
The act or process of following an order or sequence. Okay. The act or process of one person's taking the place of another in the enjoyment of or liability for rights or duties or both. So if you are in succession and you don't have no enjoyment, you ain't got succession. Because watch this, we've been conditioned to take the liability, but we haven't been conditioned to take the joy. Yeah. Because it's easy for me to give you a mantle and say, take the glory of the mantle. But because I never had no enjoyment in it, I can't give that to you. Oh, okay, let's go a little further. The act or process of a person's becoming beneficially entitled to a property or a property's interest of a deceased person. Well, I ain't there, so we don't like that one either. Now, moving on. The continuance of corporate personality. How you got succession, but everything about what you succeeded in changed. You're the successor, but the name changed. You're the successor, but the culture changed. You're the successor, but the manifestation changed. You're not the successor, you're a thief.
Well,
because if you can't continue what was started, you created something different. So you killed mine to build yours.
oh,
You're a murderer. We don't like to hear that, but if we look at people that took over for other people in ministry, in business, in government, everything changed. You were not my successor, you were my murderer. Because a successor is to continue. The assignment of the successor is to build up and to build out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
The unidirectional change in the composition of an ecosystem as the available competing organisms, and especially the plant's response and modifying the environment. What does that mean? That means that your assignment is to come and to defend the ecosystem that was built, not create another. Oh, you don't see the church as an ecosystem. You don't see that the church is constantly in a circle of life. And if parasites get in, or if the wrong plants get in, it's going to destroy the ecosystem. So if you are in succession, you are now essentially the defender of what's already been built.
My Lord.
This is really good.
Yeah. But we're in a day and a time where I can succeed you, kill you, build something else, and erase everything that's supposed to be legacy.
Wow.
The only time you want to keep it the same is when they died in office, baby. Dying in office ain't a flex.
Come on here.
Usually people die in office for one or two reasons. They didn't know their grace was over, or nobody stood up to take over.
Wow.
Most people don't want to die in office, but I can't leave it to you because I already see your murdering spirit.
That's it.
Okay. I don't know why you got me there, but
Stay there.
There's been so much murder in the church
It has.
in the name of secession.
She might have known who's in it.
Well, I'm not going to give it to the one that was serving. I'm going to give it to the one that showed up.
Listen.
Because showing up and serving ain't the same. Okay. Yeah. Showing up and serving are not the same. I can be at every service and never serve.
Never, sir.
I can be the usher at the door and still not serve.
Listen.
Because the ministry that I'm supposed to give people, they never receive because I'm a haughty mess at the door. Okay. Okay.
Haughty mess.
A haughty mess. Baby, yeah, okay. David said, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord because he was a humble servant. But if you're standing at the door because you want to tell people they can't walk in church, you're not. Okay, praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I want to block you from moving during offering. You can't walk right now. Hold on, wait. Why are you rolling at me in church? Now, hold on. This ain't the town. Don't be rolling at me. This is serious. Most theologians say that Elisha served for 7 years, which was interesting to me because as we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary, we're celebrating Kim being here for 7 years.
Wow.
God, what you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the succession is real. It's biblically sound. If you look at Ruth and Naomi, that's a succession. We don't look at it that way because, well, that's her daughter-in-law. But you got to understand, when her husband died, Ruth's husband died, Naomi's husband died, and Ruth said, I'm giving it all up to follow you. Whoever is your God, be my God. Wherever you live, I'll live, and wherever you die, I'll die. She yielded herself for what was ever coming next. And if she hadn't, we wouldn't have David.
No.
Because if Ruth didn't find out from Naomi how to entreat Boaz, they wouldn't have had Jesse, who had David. See why you can't just look at succession as, oh, I'm going to take over one day. It is something that is going to produce over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't get David, we wouldn't get Jesus.
That's right.
Okay.
That's it right there. Come on.
So succession extends legacy. It don't promote death.
Don't promote death.
If we look at Paul, there's succession there. Timothy was his successor in Ephesus. Titus was his successor in Crete. So you're telling me true apostolic succession comes from relationship that produces service? Not just the fact that you gave $1,000 every time I open my mouth. You can't pay for succession.
Can't pay for that.
You can't pay for what don't belong to you. Succession is bestowed on you. It's not a right to have.
Oh, it's not all right.
But I've been here for 10 years. I've been here since the beginning. So I should be you. Entitlement. Entitlement and succession can't go together.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
Right? So we're talking about succession, so we have to talk about the successor. Right? Kim comes in. She didn't come to the ministry. She came to me. She found me online looking for somebody else's book, but found my book. And Kim is the researcher, our researcher. So she saw my name and said, I don't know who that is. So she researched me. And then she reached out to me. Something like she decided to follow when there was no instruction.
Mm-hmm.
She took my classes. And while she was taking my classes, her and the Lord started having a conversation. Kim is from Chicago and has been in connection with some of the biggest names in the church.
Mm-hmm.
She can call them at any time. But that's not where God wanted her. They were pressuring her to join their ministry because they saw the gift and what they could get out of it, but they didn't see her. Don't give me succession if you can't see me. If you can't see me as a person, don't see me as a gift.
Wow.
Because when you don't see me as a person, you will destroy my gift for the sake of your benefit. And the person is left with nothing. Right? She comes and she says, the Lord is telling me to become a part of Restoration Level. Are you sure? That's always my first question. Are you sure? Because one thing you're not going to do is come back and say, you said, I didn't say nothing. You and God had a conversation. I wasn't there, I wasn't involved, and I don't want to be at the council table. I said, are you sure? You could become a part of Crusaders. You could be part of this one. You could be a part of, she said, that's not what God has for me. I've been to those ministries and they are nice, but what I need, they don't have. And that wasn't a belittling of their ministry. It was a reality that what she needed, she wasn't going to get in those places. I said, okay. She came in. And I can do this, and you're going to do nothing. Because Kim came after a time where she hadn't been in church. So she was jumping back in to church. I said, you don't have to do that. We'll find somewhere for you to go, but for now, just come. Go back and listen to what's already been put out. See, that's the power of having things recorded.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and listen and you don't like, you deuces, baby. And ain't no love lost. Right? So she comes in, she had everything. When she's not present, Apostle, I'm not going to make it up. Okay, great. She became like the queen of accountability. Like I was like, hold on, wait a minute. People still do this? I thought I was the only one. But she came, right? And then about a year and a half in, she said, I need to come see you. Okay. And she came from Chicago to Detroit. And the moment she walked in, she put a demand with her presence for me to feed her. I said, God, what is this? Why she doing this, right? So she comes, I pour, she leaves. She's like, I'm planning the next trip. I'm like, why? Not because I didn't want to see her, but I'm trying to understand what's happening. Yeah, she was hungry, but this wasn't just hunger. That's how she got the nickname Well Digger. Baby, because she's going to dig and dig and dig, and then she's going to go away, and she's going to do her own research, and then she's going to come back and dig and dig. And, ma'am, I ain't got nothing left. We done wore this subject out. But hey, this is what happened when I was, okay, wait, you done went too far because I don't know what that is. Let's look at this together, right? She became part of the administrative team. She became part of the prophetic team. She was on it. She didn't just come as a prophet because she didn't fully understand that she was a prophet. She knew what God said to her, but she didn't have much processing in her prophethood. So I'm a prophet, but I'm going to stand in the back. No. The twins are talking. If I could, I would, but one is serving the other, so I can't. So in the 7 years, she's received.
Yes, absolutely.
Correction.
Yes.
Rebuke.
Absolutely. Yes.
We didn't have some hard conversations.
Absolutely.
We didn't have to fight warfare because they swore them down. We was lovers. I don't know what it is about people coming to this church. Everybody think that I didn't make them my lovers. I'm like, I ain't slept with nobody, so where y'all get that from? Well, God didn't show you that. That's you nasty.
Oh.
You doing that and you reflecting that on me. I ain't slept with nobody in my church. I didn't do that. But you want to, okay, fine, we're gonna walk away from that. Because the secession is still real. Okay, we've had to fight through for each other, for the ministry.
Absolutely, sir.
We've had to fight through revelation, but the reason you started is because of this. The reality is this, Apostle, are you sure?
Yes, but she
Yeah.
says that it's impossible. We'll never.
We in a bad place if it's apostle, because I don't know what that means. That means she about to say something bad. Somebody that did something that she want me to fix it, and I don't know if I can. And every milestone for the last 7 years, every victory, every implementation of a system or a structure, she's been a part of. She's helped write policies and procedures. Why you succeeding the leader if you don't know the policies and procedures?
Listen,
Why are you in succession if you don't know the vision?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
oh.
The succession is real
Yeah.
because she didn't just come in to be a part of the church.
yeah.
She said, I want to work. Neither one of us knew this was coming. Quite honestly, I thought it would be somebody else. Not because she's not sufficient, but because the other one did what she did in the beginning. But see, when folks go to change it, all change ain't bad. But when you can't see what you once saw, you begin to treat different.
Yeah.
So we created a pastoral team, and she was on. And she would come to our pastoral meetings, and she'd be like, well, this is what the Lord said to me, and this is what the Lord said to me. Okay, great, let's figure out how to work it out. Because one thing about me is I'm not the leader that I'm the only one to hear God. Because I'm not. Because if I trained you to hear God,
yeah.
I should expect you to tell me what God said.
God said. Yeah.
But if I train you to hear God and I never hear what you heard from God, I've done you a disservice. That's spiritual malpractice. I don't have malpractice insurance, so I'm going to do my best not to be.
Amen.
And I was on a bus from Baltimore to Philadelphia. And the Lord said, she is your successor. God, I'm just trying to get to Philly. I wasn't talking to God. I didn't ask about no question. I didn't ask about succession or successor. I was just on the bus. But when you have a relationship with God, He don't care about what you do.
No, he don't. No, you really don't.
He gonna speak what He wants to speak. I'm like, okay, God, what do I do next? Because if she's my successor, what's the plan of succession?
Right.
He said, you go install her for the 10th anniversary. Right now? Really? Because my thought of passing it on was different. I wanted to be in a different place. I wanted to be functioning like a well-oiled machine. And right now, I don't fully see the well-oiled machine. But God said, not that I'm giving you anything in deficit. But when your charge is to build up and build out, I can't give you a well-oiled machine because that means I've done the work. I can't present to you something that is fully operational without you and then tell you to build it. I have to give you what you can build upon. Because your grace is to build. My grace was to lay foundation. The foundation is laid. Build up and build out. The succession is real because I'm giving you the joy and the liability.
Mama.
You see me at the top and at the bottom, at the best and at the worst. And my business was a ministry. When I couldn't walk, she was present. When I couldn't clean myself, she was present. I never asked her to, but she sacrificed to serve. My leader can't do. So how many people would be willing to clean their soil with me
Wow.
and never talk about it?
Great.
And even when I make jokes about it, Apostle, you would never have to worry about it. Because my joke was, when you write your tell-all, don't tell the color that you saw. When you, because you know, tell-all is the thing of the season.
Yes, it is.
And what you said you would do in the moment is now a reason for you to tear me down.
Yeah.
When I was in the hospital, Apostle, I'm coming. You don't have to. I'm going to be all right. I'm on my way. What you want? What can I bring you? This was a few months into COVID. I could only have one visitor at a time. I'm coming wherever you are. Okay, all right. After a while, I don't fight. 'Cause she like her auntie. Where you come from? I don't fight you most times. Yes, sir. I just been trying to figure it out. Like, but she's been a part of everything that's been going on. She's been in the teaching, and she is a phenomenal teacher. I remember when I told her, if you're going to be a leader in this house, you're going to have to know how to teach in series form. Because when I put you up, you got to teach for at least 4 weeks. I got to do what? I said, the reality is we've done a disservice to leaders when we don't require them to dig it all out. So if I only give you 1 week, you're only going to do enough for 45 minutes. But if I require you to do 4, and around week 3 come back and say, you need some more time, I'm requiring you to study. Because you can't just give me anything at that point. Don't tell me that you've been spending time with God and you can't get through 45 minutes of teaching.
Yeah.
Better yet, don't tell me that you can't get through 4 weeks of teaching.
Yeah.
And answering questions, because this is a question house.
Yes.
You got a question?
Yeah.
We're going to do our best to answer it. And if we can't, hold on, we're going to come back with an answer.
Yeah.
It may take us some time. Y'all be asking me, never mind. Y'all be asking questions that I don't think be in the Bible. However, so as we prepare to install and ordain her in this place, I'm honored that you are the successor of the first house. You weren't the oldest child, naturally. So you don't understand the weight of being the first. But because you are the first here, you're the example. You're the standard. Am I telling you that to scare you? No, because I know I can't scare you. Because I thought telling you this would scare you. It's like, okay, Dad, you and the Lord work that out. And I got scared because I was expecting her to cry and say no. And she smiled and said, if that's what the Lord said, I'm going to get that to you. We're not going to touch that.
Okay.
So, being the first in succession, there's one to come after you, because we got to keep reproducing. But you know how to reproduce like me. Because the Lord had me to perform a miracle on this woman. She was having back pain. And literally, the Lord allowed her feet to grow in alignment in her eyes. 2 months later, she went and did the same thing. We were in the service and a woman was having pain, and she saw that the woman was uneven. And she was used by the Lord to work with. See, when you enter session, you can do what the predecessor did. Elisha is known for 16 biblical miracles. Elijah was known for 8. He did what his predecessor did and did more. Because his last miracle was beyond death because he was just bones. But he was so saturated that they threw a dead man in his tomb. He didn't have no flesh on him. He was just bones. And in his bones, there was resurrection. So go, teach them, make disciples of them, challenge them. I'm going to give you what I got. Sit down and grow to heaven. Disperse it wherever you go. Because we're in a time where growth is not the responsibility of the leader. It's personal. But what they're going to do is come back and say, I'm not growing because of your growth, not my responsibility. I give you the principles, the techniques, and the strategies. If you don't use them, your stuckness is yours. I'm not moving, but move. Not my responsibility. Because as the teacher, all I can give you is what works. If you don't work it, don't mean it don't work.
Yeah.
Mean you didn't do it. The last few weeks have been bittersweet. Because I've been talking to God. God, I want it to be different. I want to give it to her. And I can't give you the ministry any different than where you already stand. As bad as I want to. Because your grace is made for it. You're not going to understand it. And they won't talk. They talk a lot about nothing. But because you've been able to stand under the conversations and not change.
Yes.
Because you've been able to stand under the ridicule and not change. Walking this walk is not going to change what you've already done. It may be a little weightier, but it's not going to change how you respond. Build up. We got a solid foundation. Build up and build out. Move with God, not the opinions of the people you lead, because they all gonna have it. And they're gonna try to tell you how to lead them. But if you can tell me how to lead you, why you don't lead yourself? Because everybody seems to know what they need, except what God says they need.
What?
Well, you should do it like this. First of all, unless you're speaking for God, you can't tell me what to do when you have no grace. Because they're going to come. And they're going to try to reroute you. Well, you know, I could lead you better. I can cover you better than him. First of all, you don't know how I cover her. But you're after a gift that you think is going to benefit you. I never looked at your gift and what it could do for me. God, this is a gift to the world. This is a gift to the church. How am I supposed to deposit? I don't require you to pay monthly fees to call me. You call me when you want to. And you do. It makes strange demands. She knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to, but I will, I guess. But see, when you're in a relationship, this is not somebody that just showed up one day. This is somebody that I've invested in.
Mm.
So when we investure her, the investment is present. Because no matter where you go, you marked. You was over there with that Bertrand man. You talk like him. I wish you wouldn't. But you do. It's amazing how easily people assume you've done something wrong. Or you're doing something wrong. You brainwashed her. I did what? I didn't touch her brain. It's still in her head. And if it's dirty, it's dirty because that's how it came. I don't got nothing to do with that. But people want leadership to be bad so much that when fruit is produced, they try to find something wrong with it. You keep telling me about what he said, because I'm living from the revelation of the leader that I got.
Yes.
Not that I idolize him, because we had this conversation. Listen, stop telling people what I taught you, because they're going to think you idolize me. And she said, I don't care. What you told me is what is allowing me to move on top of what God has given me.
Yeah.
We had that conversation. And I was like, Kim, even when you teach, you don't stop. You know, apostle taught us an apostle because they don't come. Because as a leader, as a father, I'm trying to defend you. Not that I'm telling you what you're saying is wrong, but I'm trying to keep the unnecessary.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care. Okay, all right, I did my part.
I did my part.
Well, you tell me you're gonna do it anyway. Okay, great. My profit, my success,
Thank you, Jesus.
and I've been saying that on purpose because I want you to fully understand that Kim is my unchurched baby. I tell you that all the time. We have discussions, and people be like, "What's Kim? Don't get involved because you don't know church like that. You don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Like, don't do that." Because Kim's like, I don't understand that. They should just do it because of this. I said that would be right if they did it for God. So she never really expected all of this. Kim would have been happy if I said, I'm coming to your living room and I'm going to lay hands on you. She would have been the most giddy person on the planet. Because this don't do nothing. But I understood the weight of what was happening. And I didn't want to defraud her of her moment. There's a lot of defrauding going on. Because it's easy to take people's moments to glorify self.
To glorify self.
I came to serve. I didn't even put on my red shirt. Y'all recognize me as Chief Apostle, great, wonderful. But I'm a servant right now.
That's right.
I'm coming to serve the pastor.
Yeah.
And if you're unwilling to serve, you shouldn't lead and you shouldn't give succession. It's a lot of succession given, but there's no legitimacy. That bothers me. Kim didn't ask for it. She didn't pay for it. And I'm still surprised she didn't try to give it back. But nonetheless, nobody asked you that. Yeah, don't give it back.
Not even at dinner.
Not even at dinner. Don't. Right, she might feel different after she. This is all I'm gonna say. You feel different after you eat. You better find your successor. We're not going backwards. Restoration of love, I love you. I'm just joking. Kind of. All right. It's okay to laugh, y'all. It's okay to laugh. It really is. I know we're in a high moment, but even God laughs. Relax.
It's okay.
Shake and loose.
Yes, sir.
So the succession is real. She's had a relational position. She's served. She's sacrificed. She didn't fuss. She didn't cry. She didn't cry more today than Kim, get away from me. I'm not about to do this with you. I love you too. Go over there. I'm trying to hold it together. I did good. I hope you get ready. This room for both the eyes of me. I know crying is gonna happen at some point. Okay? So from father to daughter, predecessor to successor, apostle to prophet.
Hallelujah.
I give you restoration of love, deliverance,
Yes, Jesus.
until you follow God, obey God. Whatever He say do. Never compare what's happening here with what's happening anywhere else. They're going to come, they're going to go. Some will come for a lesson, some will come for seasons, but most will not stay forever. They're going to come and they're going to go. Give them what they need and let them go. Don't try to hold anybody that want to go. Because when they held, it's like kidnapping. Just keep the standard high. Don't come down. Take on the stance of Nehemiah. I'm doing a good work, and I'm not coming down to deal with your foolishness. If they won't come up, let it be what it is. Your leadership is not determined by how many people show up in a time of celebration. Your leadership is determined on how many people overcome when the enemy comes for them. Your leadership is not determined by how many times you can fill a room. It's based on how much you can pour into empty receptacles and give what's needed to the full, to the overflow. Your leadership will never be determined by what's done in moments, but it will be sustained by what's given that's going to produce. Your leadership is not determined by man or woman, young or old, black or white. It's determined on fruit. Sow the seed and let it grow. Some tares show up, but you'll know the difference because when they're fully mature, they don't look alike. Your leadership is not determined by how fast you can grow, but it's determined by what will remain. I always want to remind you that only that which remains after the shifting and the shaking is going to be used by God. There's another shift coming. There's another shaking coming. Only what remains is going to be used by God. Your life is coming into another place. It's not meant to destroy you. It's not meant to break you. But it's going to cause you to realize your weight class. Because your weight class is changing. Remember you came and I said, that's my lightweight. When she got here, I could stand in the pulpit and she would go out and fuss. I ain't getting that yet. She's just so light in the spirit. But she's gained weight to stand. This next weight is going to give you what you need to sustain because the overflows. The download, the downpour of revelation that you're about to receive for the people you need. Remember, God speaks to you about you, and then He speaks to you about them. Some will hear and some will not. I'm going to tell you, like Ezekiel says, whether they hear or forbear. Don't take that on personally. I'm from my mistake. I took leadership so personally. In the beginning, I almost killed myself. Because it was personal. Because that's how much I took the responsibility that God had given me. But when He taught me how to separate, I could find the joy in that. It ain't always been easy, but it's been. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. You're going to cry. But your tears are different. Because when you cry as a leader, when you don't know what words to say, your tears become prayers for the people you lead. Sometimes you'll wake up crying, and then you go back to sleep. No words needed. Your tears are enough. Your tears will become warfare. They'll never understand. Just be. I'm going to prepare you for what I wasn't prepared for. We know how to handle the warfare from the outside. But when the attack is on the inside,
Jesus.
when the attack is on the inside, it does more damage because you're not prepared for it. But this is what I will say. Stay ready. Don't live in expectation of an inward fight, but be prepared for attacks from the inside.
Ooh.
Because some people are attacking you and they don't realize it. Because it can be hard to carry a name like Restoration of Love and love people that don't know what love is. Sheep bite and it hurts. Don't take it personal. Remember the assignment. Restore them to the love and restore them to love amongst themselves. Some you will be a mother to. Some you will be a teacher to. Some you will be a pastor to, and some you'll be the favorite preacher of, but they'll still want to claim that they belong to you. Know the difference and don't take it